Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Audi Cycling YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be doing a preview of the Benelux Renewi Tour, whatever it's called now, but it's only a 5-day stage race, so there's not going to be too many points on offer here, but I thought I'd do a guide anyway. If you are looking for the VELOGAMES Spain preview, I think that'll be coming out tomorrow, followed by the longer form and then also my team reveal. Probably on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's when those will probably be coming out. So be sure to subscribe and stick around for those. But let's talk about the Renewi Tour. The most expensive rider is Matej Mohoric, which makes a lot of sense. He has been in some fantastic form recently after winning the Tour of Poland and that stage of the Tour de France. But I don't think that he is going to be a good pick this time round at 24 credits. He is just too expensive to really be warrant picking. His TT isn't good enough where he is automatically a favourite in GC. The last stage, stage 5, suits him, and maybe stage 3 as well, but you need to be a strong time trialist as well to really be able to compete very strongly here, and I just think there are better choices who are cheaper than him. Asgreen is maybe one of those. He is a good time trialist. He finished like top 15 in the World's TT, but still not the punchiest rider. You need to also be pretty good for the golden kilometre, which is a thing which they have in this race. So Asgreen as well is a little bit shaky for me. I like the sprinters, I like your Delees, I like the Philipsens and Coys. I just think that it's very possible that these guys compete in 2 absolute sprints and then maybe a third, and if they're a really hardy sprinter, maybe they compete in the 4 road stages and then they hang on in the TT. We've seen that happen many times in previous Benelux tours where sprinters end up in the top 10, guys like your Stuyvens, your Walschides, Senechals, etc, etc. And speaking of which, let's talk about the sprinters. So Delee, I think, is a good one. Top 10 in the Bema Tour recently. He, although isn't a very good time trialist at all, should be competitive in the other 4 road stages because he's a very strong classic star rider, very good on cobbles too. So I think Delee's almost a must-have. Lampard, maybe not. He was very strong again in the Bema Tour recently, got away in that little move which got caught just before the finish. Very strong time trialist. We saw that, and I think it was in the Bauwals Belgium Tour, and he's a rider who will probably finish inside the top 10, but I don't think he's the best value for money. Another sprinter like Philipsen will compete in more stages. Van Lamparten will, although not do as good of a TT, will probably be just as competitive in a lot of the road stages and won't lose that much time in the TT. Coy, probably not as good as a TT rider, but I do think that he's super fast. I would try and get Coy onto your team probably. Although if you are going to lose, I would probably lose Coy before you'd lose a Philipsen or a Delee, to be honest with you, even though Coy is very fast. But yeah, Coy's a good one. Melia's not as good as climbing, but still a fast sprinter. So's Groenewegen. All these guys could win a stage or they could not. It's really just down to the look of the sprint, and it's just a bit of a lottery as to who comes out on top sometimes. Madouas I don't think is a good one, not particularly good at time trialling. It's not hilly enough terrain for him. Tarling is a very interesting one, 3rd in the World's TT, probably the strongest time trialist in this race, and if he puts a lot of time into people, I think it could be very hard for him to lose GC. So I really like Tarling. I think that this could be a good one for people looking for another Gregario, because I think that Tarling will be the likely candidate to win the TT, and because of that he will be in a pretty good position to win the overall, considering that Ineos have a really strong team here. The TT will decide a lot of this, and it'll be a real baptism of fire to see how Tarling does as a bit of a classics star rider. Fred Wright is going to have his own chances, but hasn't looked that great recently. He didn't look good in the Tour, DNF'd for the World Champs Road Race, so Fred Wright I'm not certain about either, although he is very good at time trialling. He's a pretty fast sprint, so good for those golden kilometres. But there's also Mohoric in there, so I'm not sure about the leadership. I think it's favoured towards Mohoric rather than Fred Wright. Zongler, bit of a puncher. He'll do alright, but he's not a good enough time trialist to be competitive, so probably not the greatest one. I would probably say that Tarling or Fred Wright are a better choice than Zongler. 12 credit riders, you get some more fringe GC riders like a Mikkel Bjerg, very strong time trialist. I reckon he could come top 5 in that TT, and as a consequence he's very good in classic style races. He could be top 10 in GC. Foss I'd stay away from, I don't think he's looking that great. Hershey as well, I don't think he's that great. Søren Kragh, maybe not. It was good in the first few stages of Denmark, but then faded massively, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Ineos are a bit like Ineos of just Kwiatkowski and Plapp, not too sure about either. I just don't think the course suits them massively. I think it suits Tarling a bit more, and I think they will likely fall into a domestique role. Although both of these guys are good time trialists and could finish top 20 in GC. Stuyven I do like. What was he? 6th place at the World's Road Race. Really good form. I think he also showed in Bowell's Belgium Tour. He finished top 10 in that TT, which was on a very equal distance. So I think that Stuyven's a really good one that I'm probably going to be putting on. De Maar, really good at Bema Classic. What was he? Top 5? Something like that. Since joining Arkea, just seems to have been, I don't know, just did really good on his first performance with Arkea. And I think at 10 credits, he's a very fast sprinter. And I think he could honestly finish top 10 because he's done decent TTs in the past. So I like De Maar for this. I also like Jordi Meijers for this. He, again, when push has come to shove, has come top 10 in TTs before. Winner of the Champs-Elysees stage. He's going to be the sprinter for Bora. Pretty good at classics as well. I think that Meijers is a good one as well. Thibaut Nace, I know a lot of people were probably wanting to pick him, but be warned, he is not a good time trialist. And there just isn't that kind of Ardennes style classic terrain, which he's really good at. But although he will have probably co-leadership with Stuyven. Stewart, there's also Lawrence Piffy here for Groupama, so I don't know who they're sprinting for. Trentin, Van Avermaet, probably not. Van Moor and Vermeersch might finish top 10 if they do good TTs, but probably aren't worth it for the 10 credits. Vellens, I think, is going to be leading UAE in terms of GC, probably alongside Mikkel Bjerg. So watch out for him. He has won this race, I think, twice in the past. Moving into some more, again, like the 8 credit riders, in case Ball's not a bad one. I've just skipped past a load of them. Ball's not bad. De Boist has won a race recently. You've got DSM with a million sprinters here for some reason I can't quite figure out. Max Cantor will be the sprinter for Movistar, so that's not bad. Arnie Marliott, I would expect, will be the sprinter for Intermarché. Milan seems a bit underpriced at 8, although he wasn't up there in the Bema Classic, which was surprising to me. I would have expected him to be there, considering that he is a decent enough climber to get over those small hills. So that was a bit concerning and is making me a bit confused as to whether he's in good form or not. But I still think that Milan's a good one. Piffy, as I said, will be probably the sprinter for Groupama, considering that he came top 5. Blake Quick will be the lead out. Schelling, moving to Astana next year, might have his own freedom for the GC. Galeb, along with Ball, I don't know who they're going for. Ben Turner, because he's Yorkshire, I'll have to give him a shout out. Hopefully he's on a good track to recovery. Welsford's a very fast sprinter, but hasn't really hit the mark in the latter part of his season. Affini's done well in this race in the past, but his TT performances have been gone downhill in the last couple of years, so whether you want to risk it on that or not, I'm not too sure. One of my favourite 6 credit riders is Owain Doel. He's finished 14th in GC in this race in the past. He was good in the World Champs Road Race. He was decent in the Bema Classic. I think he was top 20. So I think for the EF, Owain Doel might come top 15 in GC, which I think is honestly a pretty good deal. Durbridge has come top 10 in this race in the past in GC. Edmondson's done good time trials this year of a very similar length to this, so he could be a surprise performance inside the top 10. And then, who else have we got? Price Pedersen will do a good TT. Jonas Ruch as well, very good over these very attritional sorts of circuits and just cobble races in general, so I think that Ruch is not a bad one. Van Tlicht, possibly, but that's basically saying that Lampard, Merlier and Asgreen will all have bad days, so that's probably not going to be very likely to happen. Wandal's not bad, but he's more of a climber than a kind of cobble classic sort of rider. Bittner, DSM say will have his own freedom on the harder days alongside Niels Akoff, so that's a pretty interesting one to be going with. You could go with assist points on Bahrain Victorious or Soudal Quickstep, or Dillier's not a bad one as well to be picking over for kind of maybe a top 20 in GC, gets the assist points on Philipsen, so that's not bad. Eddie Finay's done good in one-day races like Trobro Lyon this year, so that's not bad either. Johan Jacobs is out of contract this year. Good cobbled rider, usually gets in breakaways. I would expect him to be, putting in a decent shift here, maybe top 20, 25 in GC to try and secure a contract for next year. Again, you got more guys for assist points. Norsgaard might do a decent TT or might not do. Scottson's done very good TTs in the past, but has, again, kind of like a Feeney, dropped in the last couple of years. Not really sure why. And then I think that's it best, to be honest with you, in terms of the 4 credits. There's not that many 4 credit riders that I would be picking, so I'll try and stay away from them as best as you can. This is the team that I've got at the moment. I'm very happy with it. I've just done a last little tinker with it, so I've got plenty of sprinters with Philipsen, De Lee, Demar, Mayus, Milan, and then I've got the sort of GC prospect of Tarling in there as well as like the main threat, and then I think all these sprinters could probably compete in GC as well. So that's my sort of thinking of it. I'm going very sprinter heavy and hoping that they all hang on, but let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Are you thinking of putting on a Mohoric or more of a TT specialist to try and bank in GC points, or are you thinking of going more sprinter heavy? Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section, and all that is left to say is to stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the VELOGAMES Spain previews coming up in the next couple of days. Salut!